Alright, here we go. Segment 2 of Spanky's Memoirs. Yeah, I think I left off. I was mentioning her and the exchange at the sheriff's department. Yeah, they allowed her to take my son without even a car seat or anything. They actually asked me to give up my car seat, which I had paid for them. And I'm like, man, you're allowing them to take a child while she's obviously under the influence of methamphetamines. And I said, have you searched the car for anything? Because I would guarantee that there's firearms and drugs in the car. And he said no, and he was actually telling me that I was lucky that I wasn't going to jail for kidnapping, though she abandoned the child. It's really, really difficult because here, when a woman puts on tears to law enforcement, men are just kind of screwed, and we're just kind of along for the ride. So, and my kid was bawling. He did not want to go. He kept saying, Dad, please don't make me. Please don't make me. Like I was punishing him to making him go with his mother. Being 6, it was kind of cute. His cure for it was he would go to his mom's on Tuesdays. That's his favorite day of the week is Tuesdays. He would spend the rest of the time with Dad, and he would stay with Mom at Tuesdays. But of course, that's not what happened. Mom took him. Well, then the next day, Mother goes to the school, takes my name off of the paperwork, and and as father, she puts the new boyfriend's name down as father. And actually, the school principal questioned her about that, saying, that's not really, kind of the kosher thing to do. Tim has been dad for 6 years, and now you're the new boyfriend, and it's only been, one day? So that was kind of odd, but there was arrangements made so that I could volunteer in Tate's classroom so that I was able to see him every day. Well, that lasted a matter of one time, and then I got called into the office today by Mr. Souza, the principal, and I was told that I could no longer even be on the property of the school because my name is no longer on his paperwork, and I don't have any children there. So I can no longer see my son. And wait, let me back this up a little bit. I have been taking bags of clothes and food to my son at the school because I know that she does not feed him on the mountain. Excuse me, I'm not trying to get teared up, but being meth addicts and being addicts, they don't have the responsibilities to take care of the child properly. He was in dirty clothing, he stunk horribly bad, and he was so afraid at first to even come to me. His brother had to tell him it was okay. He was looking for his mother because he's been getting smacked for even mentioning my name. He's forced to call the new boyfriend man. And mind you, this is only after one day that my son has been around this man. Never met him before in his life. And now he's getting beat to call this man dad. So I got called into the office, and because of that reason, and I kind of agree, I don't need my little boy getting beat on anymore. I agreed that I would not volunteer anymore in the classroom, which means I can't bring him clean clothes and I can't feed him anymore. Well, I did go to the CWS, and they are supposedly investigating, which I don't really exactly know what that means. And since I'm not biological dad, I have no rights to knowing even what the results are. And then CWS referred me over to the sheriff's department, which I went there to have them do a child safety search. And originally they were going to go, and then Deputy Castler, who is actually a decent individual, I informed him that there are several firearms, and it probably wasn't a good idea to go up in the middle of the night because they are apt to pull the firearms. So after talking to him for a while, I would feel bad if anybody had gotten hurt, them going and trying at night. So he had said that they would try today. That was actually today that they were supposed to go. Well, I never heard anything. So I went to the sheriff's department again, and I talked to the sergeant this time. And according to the sergeant, he had just talked to CWS, and CWS is doing a full investigation, whatever that means. You know, I thought CWS always does a full investigation. And actually, by California law, the minute you call the sheriff and report a child in danger, they're by law supposed to check immediately. And still, I'm going on day 3 now, and the sheriff has yet to check on my son. I mean, and it's really ridiculous. I keep getting the runaround. They told me to call CWS. So I guess tomorrow morning I get to call CWS. In the meantime, my son's in a location where he could get hurt. And let me just back up a little bit here. She has done this several times. Every time I end up in the hospital because of my illness, she would be with a different man. And she would put my son in situations that are harmful. One situation, my son was anally raped at one of her relatives' house. And that was documented by Deputy Blake Massaro at St. Joseph's Hospital, the crisis center. You know, that was because she got spun out and left him in a spot that she shouldn't have. Another time, she abandoned him with me for 8 months, just disappeared with another guy. You know, I have no idea, don't really care what they were doing because my boy was with me. And then after 8 months came back and did the same thing, said I kidnapped him. After abandoning him for 8 months. And of course, crying to the cops fall for it, and I lose my son again. You know, it's such a headache. And my whole outlook, and this is why Bud said I'm so inspiring, is I never give up. My children are my life. Even if it's not my biological son, he's been my son since he was 5 months old. His first words were Dada. That is the love of my life. My other son is the love of my life. My other kind of a herd of boys that are around me are the loves of my life. I would do anything for my young men and my boys alone that are around me that I take care of. And I have quite a few young men and boys that turn to me and follow me as a role model because I don't drink and I don't do drugs and I do go to church and I do praise God and I do try to walk the right walk. So I am a decent role model, and I believe I'm a decent man. At least I've been told. You know, I try not to be modest, but sometimes, you know, when it comes to God, I have to throw it out there. You know, my faith is the strongest thing that I have on my body. Well, I'm going to call it quits for a minute because I hear my dog barking, but I could jump back on here. I think I got a couple more things to throw out there before I go to bed tonight. You know, I hope I'm not boring y'all too much. It is kind of a sad story. You just got to keep plucking on. I mean, if you love your children, you do what you can. And actually, if any point any of you see anything, you know, that you want to comment on, please comment. I would enjoy any input whatsoever. If you have ideas, I just filed for guardianship of my son, and it's scaring me to death because the paperwork's so rough. If you have anybody that you know that can help or anything like that, please let me know. Since I'm disabled, my income's very low. But I don't know what. I will work. I'll do what I can. I don't move very well, but I'll do whatever I can. I'll work the rest of my life. If anybody has an idea for me that could help me, just totally please turn it my way. Alright. I will be back after I burn a little. Peace. And God bless.